Hey everyone, what's going on? Rob from Captain Rob Games here. As many of you know, today the Resident Evil chapter dropped in Dead by Daylight. This is exciting. We got a lot of information in the patch notes that I'm going to cover here. I'm going to briefly skim over some of the basics that I think we should all know about at this point. We have a new killer, the Nemesis, two new survivors, Jill Valentine and Leon S. Kennedy, and a new map, Raccoon City Police Station. I do want to mention that at the time of filming this, today is the day of the release, the Raccoon City Police Station had to actually be taken down and taken out of the map rotation. Apparently it was crashing. Don't really know why, but that's not temporarily in play. I'm sure they'll get that fixed as fast as possible. It's going to be a priority for them. And some other things that I've noted in previous videos, the tutorials are completely revamped. That's a great way to get some free blood points to spend that on your Resident Evil characters. You should be doing that. I think it ends up being like 200,000 in total. Really good way, put in maybe 20-30 minutes, get a bunch of blood points to spend on Nemesis or Jill or Leon, whichever you would prefer. I will be testing some of the bot AI. I still have some questions that I want to know. I'm very excited to see some of the details of what their AI is. So more videos will be back in the future about that. A bunch of new stuff to help new players. But the things that I really wanted to cover in today's video are some of the patch notes, specifically the balance changes. So first things first, let's talk about the Demogorgon. The Demogorgon, I want to say was nerfed because I feel like his best add-ons were nerfed, but he did have some buffs as well. First up, the lifeguard whistle, which basically when you have an active portal, it would automatically detect survivors. That range was reduced by 1 meter. I don't think that's a big issue. I don't think that's game breaking. I think that the reason that lifeguard whistle was so strong and seeing so much play is because basically you don't have to use your power anymore if it's a bad time to do so. You always get detection on your active portals. So if someone is trying to cleanse your portal, you're just being notified of it the entire time. And given the quick travel speed, you lock the survivor out of cleansing the portal the moment you take a portal towards it. And it's pretty easy to make a portal and go there with the shortened cooldown. It is a very, very strong add-on. I don't think that that's actually going to do much, but we'll see if the 1 meter range works. It might have been an issue with revealing people on generators, because sometimes you could know if someone, every time they touch a generator, they try to cleanse it, you just teleport right to it. So it was kind of problematic with the Demogorgon's new level of mobility, but we'll see if that addresses what they wanted it to address. Barb's glasses, I believe that was just cooldown reduction on how fast you can use your portal. Again, for the reasons mentioned earlier, he could use his portal quite frequently, made it difficult to get things done, especially when he had vision from the portals existing, automatic vision from the lifeguard whistle, and then a shortened cooldown to teleport more frequently with Barb's glasses. The combination made it very difficult, especially for 3v1 situations, for survivors to get things done. We'll see if that has impact. Pretty small adjustments here. The Black Heart bonus was reduced from 15% to 20%. Black Heart was, of course, the sort of save the best for last effect on Shred. When you successfully hit a Shred attack, you only had to do 80% of the animation, and then that last 20% you were a little bit faster, so allowed you to recover, allowed you to get back on the chase, allowed you to prep for another hit. Similar to how Huntress wants to hit people with hatchets because it's a shorter recovery time than using a regular basic attack. Demogorgon, same way. You want to get close on someone, hit them with the Shred and melee instead of your ability, you recover faster. And if any of you watched Scott Junn, this was something that he had demonstrated frequently on his channel. He kind of became a Demogorgon main, and he would get right up on people and then use his Shred attack because it would reduce the amount of distance they could gain on him. The Vermilion web cap, the undetectable duration was increased to 3 seconds from 1 second. Maybe those extra 2 seconds matter. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And then the rat tail bonus increased to 35% from 25%. I think that's just portal opening speed. So not a huge deal. Doesn't really save you that much time in the grand scheme of things. Opening portals in 2/3 of the time isn't going to be a game breaker. It's not that big of a deal. Franklin's Demise no longer destroys items. Instead, it will drain the charge from the items over time and leave them empty. This is a really cool effect. Basically, I think this is a good change. Instead of Franklin's Demise being sort of a binary, you either get back to your item and save it or it gets destroyed. It has a diminishing effect on your item the longer it lays on the ground. And this also benefits survivors in the fact that if you have a really valuable item it doesn't ever go away. So if you're going to escape the game at the end, you can still pick your item back up at the very end of the game. You don't killers won't be able to guard them because it won't destroy them. It'll just leave them empty on the ground there. So killers can't just ruin your best item. They can just prevent you from using it. I think it's a much more balanced effect and makes things kind of just more fair. So if you have a anniversary item and you're trying to save, it's not just deleted by default. You could just wait till the end of the game, pick it back up. So pretty cool. Lucky Break increased back up to 60 seconds from 45 seconds. Look, I've said the 90 seconds they had was insane and had to get fixed. The 45 seconds felt balanced, but I think that BHVR is trying to make this a very impactful perk, which is why I think that they increased it to a minute. So Lucky Break, again, when you run this perk, for the first minute of the game when you are injured. So I don't mean the first minute of the game, I mean for the first 60 seconds of injury, and it pauses when you're no longer injured, you don't leave scratch marks or blood. I still think this is one of the strongest perks out there. It's a almost get out of jail free card for survivors in your first chase, sometimes your second chase. I still think it's really strong. I don't know why it was buffed. I think they just want this to be an impactful perk. They want this to be part of the meta. Okay, roger that. Very strong perk. A lot of people still sleeping on it. 60 seconds is going to be a long time of not leaving scratch marks. And if you have ways to heal yourself quickly or instant heals, you're going to be able to preserve this perk and possibly escape 2 or 3 chases. So still, I've been saying this for a long time. It's a much better perk than people realize. It's just only a matter of time before the community figures it out. And as I've said in previous videos, people don't realize how strong it is because the effect only is seen by the killer. You just lose the killer, you don't often understand that Lucky Break was the reason you lost that killer. So it doesn't give that sort of like obvious example of when you use Quick and Quiet and you jump in a locker, for example. It's very obvious when you lost the killer and how. Lucky Break isn't obvious to Survivor unless you were running the Nancy perk for scratch marks, which you wouldn't. So people still don't understand how strong this is. And then Blight, they just had, I think, a quality of life fix on the a readjustment for the maximum turn rate per frame. I don't think that's going to amount to anything. We'll see. Who knows? But yeah, interesting that they did a lot of tune-ups on Demogorgon. They probably just watched Scott Junn's stream and took notes, if I were to guess. And some cool fixes all around. But here's the big thing. Let's talk about the Nemesis changes. So based on PTB feedback, statistics, analysis, etc., they made some changes to the Nemesis. They did make a couple changes to the zombies. The one that I think is the most relevant is that zombies now respawn every 45 seconds as opposed to 30 seconds when destroyed by survivors. I still don't think they're necessarily worth dealing with. I don't think you want to be dropping pallets on the zombies, but 45 seconds is a decent penalty if the Nemesis is running add-ons to sort of farm the zombies for his power. But I don't think that's going to be as necessary, and here is why. The biggest change that I have seen to Nemesis that I think is absolutely critical is right here. Hitting a contaminated survivor with a tentacle strike increases mutation rate the same amount as hitting a zombie. This is huge. Survivors during the PTB had discovered that if they just refuse to get the vaccines, they basically are just like, okay, his power always damages me, I don't get an extra life, who cares? You're just a regular survivor, you have 2 hits just like every other killer, his power isn't good enough to immediately end a game, and he can't get up to his 3rd level and empower it again, and sometimes he would struggle to get to his 2nd level. That one I don't think was that common, but preventing him from getting to level 3, getting an extra meter, not the biggest change in the world, but they could deny that. Now, with this change, if you refuse to cleanse with the vaccines, you will still get hit and take damage, but you'll actually give a mutation rate. It'll be a lesser mutation rate than when you get hit when you are not affected by the disease, but you will still get mutation rate. So this is going to prevent a very boring, unnecessary counterplay of survivors refusing to get the vaccines because they're afraid of farming the power. You still could do it to try to slow him down, but it's not going to be as impactful. You're not going to completely stop him from getting his power leveled up by refusing to do the vaccines. So I think that this is critical. This is a very good change. I'm very proud of BHVR for listening to community feedback and recognizing this problem and fixing this, because this was going to become a big problem. Some cool changes to the perks. This is the one that I think is the most important for perk changes. Lethal Pursuer, 9 seconds at the start of the game. You'll have auras. This is going to be so much fun as Huntress. I'm actually going to try to get a Huntress to down someone at the start of the game, running Lethal Pursuer and seeing if I can get 2 hatchets. I really want to do it. I don't think I'm good enough in Huntress to do it, but I'm going to try anyway. We're going to try to down someone in 9 seconds using Lethal Pursuers Huntress in some time coming up. If I succeed on stream, I'll make a video about it, but I don't think I will. We'll see. Hysteria, now it's not just on basic attacks, it's any injury state, so it's a way for, I don't know, I actually think it's kind of a nerf, because now characters that aren't relying on basic attacks can't choose when to activate it, which I guess is usually what you want to do with these basic attacks. You want to choose when you activate it. Now you can't really do that, but yeah, I don't know. I still think it's bad. The Oblivious effect I don't think is strong enough to matter, and especially not when you can't really control when to activate it. It's like when you down a survivor, okay, cooldown reduction. It's okay, I guess it's a perk, but it's not a game-changing perk. I still don't think it's meta. I don't think Oblivious status is good enough, and I'm pretty sure that's what Hysteria does. So yeah, I still don't think it's gonna be a factor, but cool. I like that you tried to make it stronger. Good. And then finally, Eruption. They made Eruption a lot more viable, but again, even with only a 30-second cooldown instead of a 90-second cooldown, which I think is still fantastic, it's still hard to get off. It's still hard to make work. You gotta put a survivor into the dying state after you've kicked whatever gens you want affected. I think the perk of this is that now with 30 seconds, you have a chance to activate it on pretty much every single time you have kicked a generator. The next time you go and down a survivor, it will be going off. So this could be interesting. This could actually make this a more viable perk, because now if you, let's say, have Pop Goes the Weasel and you Pop Goes the Weasel a generator, that generator is now marked. And if you then go and chase another survivor and you hit that survivor, you down them, and another survivor backfilled on the Pop Goes the Weasel gen and try to finish it, they'll get exploded, they'll get locked out of the gen. It'll actually buy you time to go back and Pop Goes the Weasel that gen. So this could be viable in 3-gen scenarios, just as I argued that the Blast Mine could be viable in 3-gen scenarios. Eruption could actually be a perk to help combo with Pop Goes the Weasel and really lock people out of 3-gen situations, prevent survivors from doing it. So I don't know. I still don't think it's the most viable. I know now it's a 16-second incapacitation. If you can hit 2 or 3 survivors with that, that's really big value. But it's still very situational, still very hit or miss. I'm sure survivors will find a way to kind of exploit it. I'm interested to see what happens if survivors are just repeatedly tapping the gen. We'll see. I'm interested to see where that goes, but the changes are good. I think that they made some really good changes. I think that the Tentacle Strike always giving contamination, even if you don't hit a completely cleansed survivor, really good change that's going to fix the killer. I'm excited about a lot of it. Going to be very interesting. I'm going to start testing it tonight and hopefully have some more feedback for the next time I make a video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, you know the deal. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more Dead by Daylight content like this, and I hope to see you guys next time.